Salam and peace. This is Imam Malik Mujahid, and you're watching Muslim Network TV on Galaxy 19 satellite, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, and a whole lot of social media, as well as our own website, muslimnetwork.tv. There is a whole lot going on in the world. Fires, wow, there is smoke all the way. Last night I called a former colleague in Vancouver, and she was accusing me, you Americans are sending your smoke to us. I hope she was not looking for marijuana smoke, but all the way. I have a couple of people who are working for us. And Atlantic has 4 hurricanes in the making. It has happened only once in the recorded history. And of course, the pandemic. People are worried. And when you're worried, some people think and some people have difficulty in thinking. My office in Chicago is headquartered in a historic building, which is so historic we cannot even change a glass without a permission of the city. Lot of businesses. It's a whole block. There's a Hilton in there. Hilton has shut down its doors. Restaurant down, 3 restaurants or 4 are shut down. Many stores are gone. Very few people left, including us who are still there. And just a few days ago, Wells Fargo, a bank, has gone to the court to repossess because the landlord is unable to pay them. What is happening to those people who are working hard? Every lunchtime when I'll get out or going for my noon prayers, I will say hello and salam and all those things. Where are those people? What's happening with them? What are they thinking about it? Statistics, there is a politics of statistics. One day I want to write an article about politics of statistics, although I have done courses in statistics, but there is a huge politics which distorts the numbers. Not only the fake news type of distortion, but a real distortion when changing variable. I remember a CPA was auditing and he asked me while auditing our organization, would you like to show profit or would you like to show loss? I said, what? I thought you will show what numbers are showing. No, but I can do this way or that way. What are you looking for to do? I said, oh boy, that became a window. So people are saying, one banker saying 47.2 million, sorry, 47.2% of Americans, adult Americans, are jobless. That's huge. 47% of all adult Americans are jobless. But when it comes to collecting jobless benefit, numbers I'm getting is 13 million to 24 million to 30 millions, and there is a politics about that as well. In the meantime, some people are hiring. We're one of those people looking for talented people who are creative and thinking of new direction. We started Muslim Network TV while the pandemic was just about there in March. Amazon is hiring 100,000 people and they promise to pay at least $15 per hour, and some will make $150,000. But a Rand Corporation report, Rand Corporation is defense, 80% funding comes from the US Defense Department. It's a conservative think tank, it's a part of the establishment. And I was surprised to see there is some report which was interesting. They say the median worker should be making as much as $100,000 plus annually if some 2.5 trillion were not being quote unquote reverse distributed every year away from the working class. They're talking about the infamous 1%, but this time it is coming from Rand Corporation, not from a liberal think tank. How to handle these uncertain times? If you're a jobless person, where to look for one? You're very hopeful about the future. What type of skills will get you a better future? If you have a job, but they're cutting your hours or cutting your salary, should you live in disgust because your loyalty is not being rewarded, or you stick to it? What are your options there? Well, if I have all these questions, I will be doing the whole show. Unfortunately, I don't. But I have a couple of people who are very smart and working in this particular area far before the pandemic hit. So they were preparing themselves to be our guest today. So one expert is Hassan Akmal. Welcome to Muslim Network TV, Hassan.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Peace be with you. And Michelle Nadon. Welcome to Muslim Network TV.
Thank you so much. It's an honor.
Yes. Well, you have been thinking and you have been working on how to help people find jobs and careers and whatnot. And this is your time, I guess. Are you very busy appearing on different television networks?
Here and there, a couple.
Okay. So, Michelle Nadon is a career strategist and media instructor with passion for animal rescue and animal advocacy. And I hope animals sometime advise you what direction to go.
Shall we just say that I'm a born rescuer? And so I rescue people all day, and the rest of the time I'm involved in animal rescue.
That's an excellent way to put it. I like that very much. Rescuing people and rescuing other people. You know, in Islam, Quran, which we believe God's words, he tells us animals have communities like you do. This is a literal translation. I'm sharing with you of one of the verses of the Quran, just reading a couple of days ago, and I say, yeah, I wish more people recognize that when they treat animals in a very different manner, not recognizing their people, their communities, and things like that. And Hassan Akmal is the executive director of career services at the University of California, Los Angeles, which is more known as UCLA, I think, right?
Yes.
And a former professional tennis player. All right. Well, welcome to Muslim Network TV. I look forward to talking to you. So tell me first thing, what is so sure about the future? There must be something certain about the future, right?
The future of work is uncertain. I think just before COVID-19, we were already seeing career disruption and its impact. And so the definition of a career, even before COVID-19, had already been redefined. If you think about the definition of a career, right? My mother and father were chemists. My mother was a chemist for 30 years. And so longevity has significantly decreased and is no longer, 10, 20 years. In fact, the new generation, the next generation is going to have maybe 15 or 16 careers in their lifetime. Not only that, but there's new industries. If you think about over a decade ago, the job of a social media manager didn't really exist, or of a social media influencer and things like that. And so now you're seeing new jobs, new industries, and the word career means something different. In fact, students today can have multiple jobs and side hustles at the same time, right? And you have the gig economy, and we talk a lot about unemployment, but really underemployment, in my view, is really the main issue.
So, Michelle, what do you think? What is certain about future?
What's certain about the future, obviously, is uncertainty. The gig economy is going to persist for the time being, and the markets are going to become ever more fragmented. And to Hassan's comment, yes, everyone is going to be, how a financial analyst will tell you it's healthy to diversify. So in your professional portfolio, I firmly believe that it's very healthy to diversify. I strongly recommend that people get a survivor gig, basically anything to bring money in the door while you're looking. But it really is important to develop a craft or a business in the background that can support your employment efforts, because again, to Hassan's point, underemployment is going to be what's the key feature going forward.
You being from Canada, I heard underemployment is a major thing there.
Yes, we have actually been suffering with it now for about 10 full years. My own industry, the traditional media industry, has gone from a workforce of 900,000 in the last 10 years down to an approximate 150,000.
That's such a drastic change.
It has been a drastic change.
It's almost like 80% downward.
It is, but the good news is that applies to traditional media, which is television, radio, and print. But digital media is abounding everywhere. So the same jobs are coming to the fore, just with different companies and in different areas. So the job seekers' challenge is to find those new companies.
So you seems to be advising people, Michelle, that people should be somewhat conservative.
Conservative in their approach.
Hold on to what you have.
Sorry,
holding on to what they have, that is, whatever you have, hold on to it while you're looking for something else.
Yes, I mean, that is a critical thing. Whatever you do have, hang on to it right now. But I'm also super unconservative in my approach to careers. I believe in empowering individuals, and the way to empower them is through constant education. And we've never been in a situation before where we have more opportunities than we can even deal with in terms of lifelong learning. So my risk-taking lies with lifelong learning and increasing my own skills and my own knowledge constantly. Like through the pandemic, I knew we were going to be quiet. So I spent the entire summer studying search engine optimization.
So search engine optimization, from rescuing people and rescuing animals to rescuing dying websites, I guess.
Yes, well, search engine optimization is a critical portion. I mean, if you're going to have any kind of business these days, you're going to need to market it digitally, and you're going to need to know what you're doing when you are marketing digitally. So I thought I would prepare myself and get a good background on that. And I also studied e-commerce this summer, because apparently only 4% of companies actually are effectively using e-commerce. That's a giant market that people cannot be activating.
So do you agree, Hassan, that since it looks like, I mean, American leader of CDC, he's saying that people, this type of pandemic situation might go on until the fall of 2021. So as a lot of people are ordering groceries and things like that, sitting at home, and probably that's one of the results that Amazon is hiring second time, I think, 100,000 plus people. So Michelle pointing out, only 4% of companies are investing through online buying and selling. So do you see a growth of the IT professionals who are ready to take companies into that realm? I mean, I thought that .com bubble busted long time ago. Do you see another bubble popping up here?
Not to, we could have a entire different show on the housing market. There are a couple more bubbles out there waiting to burst. But yeah, I couldn't agree more with Michelle. When it comes to, it's a tough economy, and nobody knows whether it's going to get worse or not, right? With the election coming and things like that. And so your current job definitely, is your greatest asset in a lot of ways. But one thing that I remind students is, employers, they understand that there's high employment rates and there's furloughs and things like that right now. And what's probably more important, even if you do have a job, is what you're doing during the time of the pandemic. And so how are you pivoting, right? This is whether we like it or not, everyone, even people that are employed, are pivoting because the world has changed, right? The world has changed. Now, when you interview, you're not looking at somebody in front of you. You're looking at a camera. You're not looking at a screen. We're coaching students differently when it comes to how to find a job and what it means to have a digital identity and how to elevate that brand, online in a virtual world. To Michelle's point, and all the things that come come along with that when we're living in this, what I call, everyone's an entrepreneur. It's an entrepreneur reality. And so yes, there's absolutely those industries that are going to be increasing. The most impacted, the largest annual decreases in job postings that we've seen, according to Handshake, which is our primary platform at UCLA, which houses a couple dozen thousand jobs. 60% in hospitality has been hit, 44% decrease in food, beverage, and CPG. Minus 37% in arts and entertainment. But at the same time, you still have industries that are hiring, like pharma and med devices and healthcare and services and nonprofit, and all the new industries that you can follow by also looking at how many patents are being filed with AI and machine learning, right? The number of patents over the past decade have been increasing.
So you mentioned not-for-profit hiring. Why are they hiring?
Well, they've only been impacted, according to our database, the smallest annual drop has been in pharma and med devices, healthcare and services, and nonprofit, who's been hit only 13%. So they're still hiring. Now, some of these companies have taken a little bit longer to kind of, they've sort of paused for a moment because their internship programs completely changed. They had to completely go online, look at a virtual sort of program and look at virtual career fairs for recruiting, for example. And so, but we're seeing a rebound this fall from a lot of the employers. In fact, our last fair, we had 200 employers, in a virtual networking platform. Just the other day, we had over 100 employers at an open house and another 100 employers at another virtual career fair. And so they are continuing to hire students, but they're just hiring them differently.
Michelle, when we'll take a short break. When we come back, I want to know how to balance the survival mode while thinking of the future opportunities. You're watching Muslim Network TV, and this is Imam Malik Mujahid, and I'm talking with two experts, Hassan Akmal and Michelle Nadon. We'll be right back after these messages. Salam, this is Malik Mujahid. I want to talk to you about something extremely critical. Disney is collaborating with the Chinese government and profiting from genocide in China. Chinese government has thrown more than 1 million people in the concentration camp, largest concentration camps since the Nazis, and the world knows about that. They have taken 500,000 children to Chinese communist orphanages. And they have placed 2 million Chinese in 2 million Uyghur homes. The world has never seen anything like that. We said never again before, and we must mean never again. And Disney can't believe that. Disney is profiting, not only profiting from Mulan movie, they are depicting Chinese invading indigenous people and slaughtering them. And at the top of it, they are thanking the Chinese Communist government to be exact 12 department of China, and some of them are directly involved in maintaining and pushing people in the concentration camp. Could you believe that? I had a hard time until I investigated. Could you please sign this petition to the Disney, which is a company which cares that they must not profit from genocide. They must stop this thing. Whole world is speaking what's gone wrong with Disney. Profit cannot be made when a genocide is taking place. Please sign it now. Thank you. Peace.
My wife, she's a professor at the University of Cincinnati, who's Catholic, and by her watching and listening to our 3-year-old son watch Adam's World, she ended up taking Kalima Shahada. She embraced Islam because she learned so much about Islam and the other prophets. It really affected our life in a great way, and because of Sound Vision and Adam's World, we're Muslims.
I took my Shahada 15 years ago, and I actually am from a rural part of Ohio. And so I found the catalog for Sound Vision, and I ordered the tapes and the CDs and the books, and I used those, and especially for my little daughter, that's how we basically learned our Islam, and Islam entered our hearts through the wonderful works of Sound Vision.
Okay, assalamu alaikum, brother. I just want you to know that I love the Sound Vision website, that a lot of times when I'm looking for information, especially as it relates to homelessness, domestic violence, and women issues, I go to that website, and then I see what you've written, and then I copy and paste it and spread the word, because the wisdom is there. So I can't do any better than what Sound Vision has already done.
Sound Vision is our survival guide. It is the organization that provides skills for Muslims how to survive and thrive in this community here in the US.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Anam, I'm in 11th grade, and I grew up with Adam's World, and what it taught me was unity, respect, and love for the Muslim Ummah.
Adam's World is the greatest show ever made. Take me to the Kaaba, man. I love that puppet.
Welcome back to Muslim Network TV. This is Imam Malik Mujahid, and with me, our guests today are talking about future. Hassan Akmal and Michelle Nadon. So question is, when situation like that happen, uncertainty, where my food will come from. I mean, people are unable to pay their rent, and people are simply worried. So how to balance? It's a sort of a psychological question, but people, since you're experts of job, you know how difficult situation a human being is when they're looking for. So how to balance this survival mode versus thinking of future?
It is very difficult right now to maintain that balance because there are so many operatives seemingly working against us. My general rule of thumb is there are 4 ways in life to make money. One is it as a full-time job. One is as an entrepreneur. Another is as a person who gets a survivor gig just to keep anything and everything coming through the door. And then I strongly suggest if you have a hobby, that you monetize your hobby. In my case with the rescue animals, because I deal with so many broken animals, I actually do special needs pet boarding from my home to supplement my income. So if you can take a hobby and turn and monetize it, that is a great strategy. But while you're juggling all of those elements, it is really important to focus on self-care. When you are unemployed, your identity is hit like there's no tomorrow. You're driven out of your mind with financial worries. Self-care is critically important and needs to be brought into the mix every single day through exercise, nutrition, community, spiritual groups, whatever you can do to bolster yourself during this time is a really good idea. And then, as I like to say, Monday to Wednesday are the power days for business. That's when I tend to get all my business done because that's when businesses are up and operating. By Thursday in the week, people are starting to fall apart and they're not paying as much attention. So I use Thursdays and Fridays to, pay bills and develop marketing materials and marketing campaigns, and then back at it again Monday morning. So that's the kind of balance that I maintain, and it's working for me so far.
Well, good for you. Hassan, is there a particular schedule which you follow during these days, or advise other people who are struggling in UCLA to look for a job?
You know, it's a blessing with addressing. When I think about all the, you think about the challenges, you think about being in this twilight zone, and it's a tough thing to deal with. Psychologically, mentally, it's hard to have a very positive attitude in a time like this. But if you think about it, and my cat is over here visiting us. If you think about it, it's also a good time for you to work on your career and life vision, right? So I spent a lot of my free time focusing on my career and life vision. What I mean by that is we have a tendency to compete with sort of the work and life, right? So it's you work all day, you think about your family at home, and then when you come home, it's family time. And now sort of work and life has been blurred, right? And I like to think of sort of an hourglass. You just switch and you're flipping it over, and they're competing with each other constantly. So when I talk about career and life vision, I'm talking about those two kind of coming together. In the book, The Art of Happiness at Work by Dalai Lama, he talks about 3 buckets. The first bucket he talks about is the job bucket, and he describes it as the acquisition of resources, putting food on the table, and really getting your family to the next day. And now, especially in this pandemic, either we know somebody really close to us, or a friend of us knows someone that's going through that job bucket. Then he describes the career bucket, and that's when it's more focused on advancement, prestige, and sort of climbing the ladder. And most of us probably have been through that phase and have focused on really advancing our career in our lifetime. But the bucket that he really encourages us to strive for is the bucket of calling. And that's when work is so fundamentally aligned with who we are and the situations that bring out the best in us, that it's work that we'll do for the work itself. The dividing line between work and the rest of your life gets happily blurred. And so I spent a lot of my time working on that career and life vision and asking myself, I wanted to be an author. I published a book last year, How to Be a Career Mastermind. Now I'm writing a second book. The side hustles that Michelle speaks about. It's a wonderful time for people to pick up these side hustles, to explore something outside their comfort zone that maybe interested them, and almost to reverse engineer from those passions.
Mm-hmm.
So you both seems to agree on this point, that built on hobbies and built on side hustles and gigs which are available. Are these companies who are offering platforms for it, like Upwork or Fiverr, or there may be more of those? Are they making, these are public companies, if I remember correctly. Are they showing more people buying their stock because that's the direction of the future or something?
Absolutely, they're thriving, right? If you go to Upwork, I'm an avid user of Upwork. In fact, I have an entire online team that works on, posting branding, quotes, and editing videos, and for YouTube or whatever it is. And I'm sure Michelle has the same. And you can hire somebody across the world, for minimum wage that is $3 an hour in the Philippines, for example, or $5 an hour. And so and people are making 6 figures on these websites. So they definitely are thriving, and there's many more websites like it that are also thriving, like Fiverr.
So how to look for these type of gig, Michelle?
This is going to sound very simplistic, but I will guarantee you it works. I always tell people, go to your front door and open it and look outside. Do you see a problem anywhere? If you do, congratulations, you've just found a job. COVID-19 has given us an unprecedented opportunity, in my humble opinion, for us all to slow down and really take stock of who we are as individuals, what we want to do going forward, how we can be most contributive, knowing that the world and the environments are as chaotic as they are. And I see a shift in companies as well, where companies are shifting more towards corporate social responsibility, purpose-driven mandates, and the all-important diversity. So, so I think that that's sort of nothing but good news. And it starts with the individual. It starts with me and what I need to do. I mean, my entire business model flew out the window in March. And by July, I had completely reinvented it because I had to. So I really encourage people to look around their communities where they see issues, jump in and start being contributive. Find others who share communities of interest, who share in your ideals and the types of outcomes that you want to achieve, and then put on your entrepreneur boots and get at it.
Well, you know, I mean, you both are talking about making a lot of sense. I wish I can keep taking notes, but I'll have to take notes later, I guess. But tell me, are our universities and different people where people look for opportunities are guiding the way you guys are guiding? I mean, who guides career? I mean, is career counseling while teachers are struggling how to learning how to teach online? I mean, in April, we offered a workshop through our training department, how to be effective online teacher. 500 people on 3 days notice showed up online to learn from there. And I saw that they didn't have many opportunities of that nature. If we have advertised, probably there will be several thousand. So how schools who are struggling how to teach in a digital way, universities, most professors, hands-on and all that is all gone. So what is the direction career counseling is taking? Are people at the university, coming up with ideas? Are there new manuals and processes being developed? And what is happening out there? Where people should go other than just website? Of course, they can always tune into Muslim Network TV and watch your program. But what other options are out there?
There's so many, if you think it's so first of all, career services, right? If you think about career services, I've been a director of career services for 12 years, right? So before this position at UCLA, I was at Columbia University and founded a career design lab. And the whole concept of career services, right, was something that students had to seek out. The onus was on them. Career services, if you were raised with privilege, you were taught to find a mentor. Right. And so that was easier for people. And so now career services is in a new paradigm of social mobility. We're focused on social equity. We're trying to make sure that all students, regardless of background, are able to we're going to catch all right on the beaten path of graduation. Everyone needs a mentor. Right. So first of all, we have to mentor the mentors. Right. So we talk about higher education. We are mentoring the mentors. We are trying to be the new breed of career professionals. You can't edit a resume the old way. It doesn't work. And in fact, when someone would come to you back in the day, a student would come to you, you would ask them, what's your passion? And if they didn't know what their passion was, you would tell them to go back and think about it and come back when they figure it out. But passion isn't necessarily an organizing principle. Only 20% of us have a single identifiable passion. And even if you have a passion, you may be good at it, you may not be good at it, right? I could be passionate about golf, but I could be horrible at golf. And it's also not enough to know what your passions are, because you have to master them. Right? You have to master your passions and then use them to solve the problems of other people, to Michelle's point earlier. So the questions that we really have to ask students in our new breed of career professionals today is how do you define success? Is success your idea, or is it the idea of somebody else's? So many students now have limiting beliefs. They want to be an accountant because their father was an accountant, but they're not really passionate or very good at it. We have to find out what our passions are and master them. It's about mastery. We need to find out about meaningful problems and opportunities that you are passionate about solving. Your wealth, your financial spirituality, your emotionally, all of this will be directly proportionate to the problems that you want to solve. So essentially, you need to step into your purpose. You need to define, who do you serve and how and why, and what do you want to master, and can you teach it? And so career services has completely changed, because now we're focusing on meaningful work, and we're focusing on helping students identify their purpose.
Well, Hassan mentioned resume. Michelle, in places where I have hired for multiple, I mean, I have always worked for not-for-profit entities, either chaired the boards or worked for them. And I don't pay much attention to resumes. Are resumes still very important?
Resumes are, you're always going to need a written sort of history of your life's work, the curriculum vitae. But it's not just about the resume. The resume is kind of ground zero for brand establishment. But along with the resume, there are many other marketing tools that you need, that any individual needs to be more effectively representing their skills and their knowledge in the marketplace. So that can be anything from a business card, cover letters, a cover letter template that looks like your resume, a list of references that looks like your cover letter, the entire brand mechanism around how you look out there digitally is being rethought now. Straight down to your email signature. A lot of people just forget to use that, and that's one of the best branding devices you could ever use. Make sure your email signature looks like your resume. Your voicemail message is another marketing tool. Getting a bio written, if you're more than 10 years in any industry, having a bio written about you or for you is really wonderful. It gives you a certain amount of gravitas that you haven't seen before. And if you get somebody else to write it for you, they very often can see things in you that you just can't give yourself credit for. So a bio is a very strong marketing tool. And there are others, but they're the main ones right now. The resume is important. It will remain important. I think there's an argument out in the marketplace, and Hassan, I'd love your comments on this, as to the efficacy of constructing video bios. Personally, I don't believe in them. I prefer an authentic experience with an individual. But that is one marketing tool that they are suggesting can be added to the arsenal. But truly, the important piece is whatever you establish, make sure that you have some kind of brand mechanism, use of color, the same font, the same type of graphic layout. Put some real thought and time into how your marketing tools look out there so that you will be received more strongly as a professional within your own industry.
You would not believe what I'm about to ask. What is the difference between resume and a bio?
Oh, a bio is like a formal public relations document that gives a narrative of your history in a particular format. It's written in prose, and it can be written first person or third person, depending on your natural sort of flair. And a resume is more a compilation of all of your work experience, all of the details, your skills, the technology platforms that you use, professional development, education. They're all showcased in more minute form in the resume.
Thank you so much. You're watching Muslim Network TV on Galaxy 19 satellite, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, whole lot of social media, and our own website, muslimnetwork.tv. This is Imam Malik Mujahid, and I'm talking with Hassan Akmal and Michelle Nadon, both experts about future guidance about your career, where the world is going, and where you want to go. We'll be right back after these messages.
What was it like when you started this network out, when you started Sound Vision those many years ago?
You know, after 9/11, one lady called me and she says, what is your channel which I can watch? And I say, I'm sorry, we don't have a channel. And you know what she said? She said, then how America will know about you?
SubhanAllah. Anything you want to say to the people who are watching? We had one sister who messaged that she grew up on Sound Vision. What do you say to the people who have been long supporters?
Thank you. Thank you. It is because of you we are able to do all of that. So the generation of Adam's world, you need to take it over for the next generation. And that's my invitation to you. to keep telling everybody where to watch. They can watch it on Galaxy 19 satellite, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, or easy thing, muslimnetwork.tv, or our YouTube channel, or our Facebook channel. And with your help, inshallah, ladies, the one who called me, what channel should I watch Muslims on? Answer is here and now.
Assalamu alaikum.
Open up your eyes.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, it's your brother Zain Bika from South Africa. One of the first educational programs ever produced for Muslim children was the ever popular Adam's World series. The colorful and comical Muslim puppets stole the heart of a generation. Sound Vision will be releasing brand new episodes of Adam's World with the launch of a Adam's World app. Subscribers will enjoy new Adam's World episodes as they are released, as well as all the classic episodes of Adam's World. So visit adamsworldapp.com now to learn more, subscribe, and enjoy new adventures of Adam and his friends. And let's keep helping tomorrow's Muslims today. Assalamu alaikum.
Adam's World. Believe me, there's a lot to see. Bismillah. Let's explore.
Welcome back to Muslim Network TV. We have an excellent conversation about the future job market, future careers. We talk about resume and bio and why it is important, and maybe a video-based presentation about who you are. What about networking and relationships? I mean, I'm told that a whole lot of jobs go through relationship. I definitely, when I'm hiring, I give importance to relationships. In the world where physical distancing is order of the day, first thing, is it important to have relationship and networking? And how do you do that in today's environment? Of course, other than having a good makeup and a good camera and a good light and a good audio system.
They call it network, right? Net plus work, because nobody said it's going to be easy, right? And so now more than ever, networking is incredibly important. And what students and graduates and job seekers, or I like to say career seekers, are really looking for and need to remember is that they're joining people, not organizations. And so building relationships online, building your network, to your earlier point about resources, the 4.0 that really matters, that I like to say, is the sort of your internal resources, your personal capital, your intellectual capital, and then you have external resources, your social capital, which is why you really go to the university if you leverage that, right? At UCLA, we have 500,000 alumni. Just imagine that. And then your financial capital, and your financial capital is really the intersection between your social capital and your intellectual capital. Who knows how that you're good at something, right? And how do you turn that into a proposition for business? And so when you think about how important it is for your digital identity and development now, it's just absolutely critical. And self-education is now soon to become $1 billion a day industry. And so by leveraging your network, you can align mentors, you can align informational interviews, and you can align all the different layers to mentorship. A lot of people talk about these formal mentorships, but mentorships don't always work out. But you can have enablers, you can have promoters, you can have points of reference, you can have people that open up doors for you.
How this, you mentioned alumni network. How do they work in terms of job search and relationship and networking?
For example, so we have UCLA One, which is a platform which is powered by Graduate, which is a top 10 ed tech startup out of London, and you have, say, for example, 500,000 alumni, and in the system, you can offer to help. Right, so you can offer to allocate some of your time to a current student, and so it's basically peer-to-peer, students seeking out alumni who are like-minded, who have shared interests and shared affiliations, who may not have necessarily had the same degree as you, but perhaps they have trailblazed, or perhaps they're in the position that student is aspiring toward. And we now know from data that resumes, they're probably going to be a thing of the past eventually, right? Video, to Michelle's point, it's more and more important when it comes to attention grabbing, but nothing really replaces the authentic aspect of it. I even have a video resume on YouTube if you search for it, which I was trying to be innovative, about 5 or 6 years ago. But I think it really comes down to telling your story, right? Not only storytelling, but story making and story changing. And that's the conversation that you want to be able to articulate, to share who you are authentically to those potential alumni mentors, or even someone who's not an alumni mentor. But these platforms obviously are very, very helpful for students, during their first year, second year, third year, and as they become lifelong learners.
Michelle, you mentioned you reinvented yourself after the pandemic, that how do you do your business? Mm-hmm. And you also mentioned that instead of 800,000 plus traditional media employees, now they have only 100,000 plus employees. That's a huge difference. How successful those people have been in retooling themselves? And what is the whole concept of retooling when you don't know where what situation will be tomorrow?
Okay, that's a very, very good question. Hassan mentioned earlier, I believe you mentioned knowledge equity. It's critically important to monitor your industry, whatever industry you're in. I will always look towards getting the annual or biannual media forecasts, because I work in media largely, of the likes of PricewaterhouseCoopers or the large management firms like Deloitte, KPMG. Excuse me, I'm always reading their reports, and because they're on top of where the markets are going. So I've recommended that anyone to all the people in Canada who are looking to reinvent, that they monitor those reports so that they actually know where the jobs are going to be 5 years from now. Now, with respect to Canada, we've had a lot of attrition in our marketplace, and that's fine, and that's actually natural. But we also have had a lot of people who understand the value of retraining. And so everybody is just packing on retraining, whether you get small C credentials through webinars, seminars, communities of interest, etc., or whether you go for the larger credentials. And so say you have a certificate in media production. Well, the next certificate that you're going to go out and seek is one that adds marketing to your business profile. So people are looking to reinvent themselves through knowledge, and it is knowledge that is going to get you the job at the end of the day. It's knowledge, also to Hassan's point, coupled with social equity. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't have any contacts or any people to turn to help you in your search, then you're kind of just working in isolation at home. So knowledge equity and social equity are key drivers, in my humble opinion, of careers.
How, if you're hiring, Hassan, how much importance do you give to the communication skills?
So NACE, the National Association of Colleges and Employers, has about 10,000 members across the United States, so different colleges and universities from UCLA to Harvard. And they publish 8 career readiness competencies, and communication is one of those 8 career readiness competencies, but global cultural fluency is also one of them. And obviously we know critical thinking and problem solving is at the top of the charts. If you go to the World Economic Forum, they publish what they call sort of the skills of the future. And I like to call them success skills or soft skills, right? So more and more employers are focusing on skills like communication. And think about how important communication is now on video and in email and when everything is online. But, you know, we've seen a change from 2015 on the World Economic Forum. The emotional intelligence wasn't even listed, right? And now you see it as, I think, number 6. And then creativity used to be number 10, and now it's number 3 in 2020. And so we're seeing a shift in all these core competencies. And if you look at some of the new job postings from like Tesla, they say things like leave your ego at the door, you know, and, you know, they're focused on superpowers and things. So job descriptions are even.
They may have a personal reasoning there because, you know, they leave your ego on the door because there's somebody with bigger ego sitting there.
Yeah, possibly. And so, but, you know, also things like patience is really important now, right? With especially with the pandemic, hustle, right? Gratitude, empathy, your ability to empathize with folks, you know. So there's so many core competencies that are constantly evolving, and you know, career readiness is like that hidden skill set that really helps students and graduates develop employment seeking competencies that better prepare them for the competitive nature of the job search. But they're not always, you know, right there, tangible, visible. You really have to put some thought into it as you position yourself and you position your story for the future.
You know, I was looking at Gallup poll, and they have this nightly poll and looking at combined results, and they divided up by faith communities. And in that report, I was surprised to see the largest number of people who are self-employed are in the Muslim community in the United States. So if you are self-employed in this situation, and you have this entrepreneurial spirit, what are the opportunities? Now, Michelle has answered, open the door, look where the need is, go fulfill that need. That's one way of approaching. But how can they develop, you know, their entrepreneurial skills? So whatever they have done, they built on it instead of looking for a job.
Well, you know, they need to stay, every job seeker, every would-be professional out there needs to stay current with the marketplace. So my recommendation is for everybody that I coach, when you're reading your morning news in the morning, okay, read at least one business article. And don't just read it, because if you just read it, it goes in one ear and out the other. You're not likely to retain very much of it. I encourage people to read the articles out loud, so your brain has a greater chance of retaining the information. That's going to help you as you navigate through your own industry, because you're just going to be acquiring more and more knowledge all the time. And to Hassan's point, you will be building your communication skills, which are really important, your business vernacular, and getting a better sense of how to actually represent yourself more strongly out there. So that is one very strong recommend I make, is that you stay on top of business and see what's going on, be able to address it, and be able to find your place within it.
What do you think, Hassan, about her advice?
Absolutely. So, you know, so let me start with just step back. So defining your vision is really like, it's like excavating gold, right? First, you got to believe that the gold is in the ground. Some of us have this self-doubt, right? Especially during times that, you know, like the twilight zone that we're in now, right? But once you really believe, you start digging. You think of your mind as a sort of a gold mine. But when you excavate gold, you sift through the dirt, the gold that is heavier, it stays at the bottom, right? And the dirt really comes out and the gold shines. The same process we go through when it comes to clarity of vision. So this is really about digging deeper into our why. And the best way to do that for me, if I were to talk to my 20-year-old self, you know, who was this aspiring pro athlete in pre-med, I would have joined masterminds. Mastermind groups, for example, you have folks who have already demonstrated success in the role. You have some very successful entrepreneurs that offer free classes that some you have to pay to get into, but master classes and things like that. And think of it as a shortcut. Think of 6 to 12 people in a virtual chat room who are sharing their networks, who are sharing their expertise. It's like a group mentorship session. It's the shortcut. And that will accelerate your career and help you prevent you from making some of the mistakes that they made. And it will accelerate your path to success.
Now, there was a time when Americans and Canadians were heading overseas, sometime teaching English, sometime finding something else to do. We mentioned that, some of our jobs are going overseas for a longest period of time. Because people find a skilled labor which is far cheaper than these countries. But then I found some Americans are going abroad and finding a job and good life and enjoying and all that. So what are the future prospects for people in North America looking for jobs overseas? Because they have pandemic also, and there are people worried over there as well.
I like to refer to the career choice circle, right? I call it the career choice circle. It's when you start thinking about professions, it limits you, right? So some of us are locked into, what professions are going to be overseas, what industries are going to be overseas. The jobs of the future haven't even been created yet. They're being created now. And so, be bold, right? Be a visionary. And when you look at a company in 2 different departments that are overseas and you see a solution to 2 big problems that you could bridge, focus on that. When you focus on a profession and you start with a profession, like you start with just an engineer, it limits you. It's a very, very small circle. So starting with the profession or vocation, I don't really recommend it. But why would you choose from a limited menu, right? And eliminate yourself from all those other career paths. So for example, if you think about skills and things like that, there are skills in different professions, whether it's in the United States or overseas, that are similar. And it expands all your career choices. And you may not even know, if you like to excavate gold, you could be an HR recruiter, because instead you're still looking for skills. So there's similarities and things like that. So don't stand in your own way is what I would say.
Well, thank you so much. We almost ran out of time. Just 20 seconds for each one of you. Any final thought for thinking positive and winning in future?
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Speak to your highest self. Do the homework on your career. Find out what you want and go get it. Anything is possible. You can make it happen.
Hassan.
Interview yourself. INNER. Don't interview yourself. Self-reflect. Align purpose. If you don't design your life, somebody else will design it for you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Hassan Akmal and Michelle Nadon, for being with us at Muslim Network TV. And thank you, Sherdil Khan and Dr. Abdul Wahid for producing today's show. You're watching Galaxy 19 satellite, where Muslim Network is coming to your home. Our Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, and our own website, muslimnetwork.tv. Peace. Salam.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Pleasure.